Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Hideo Kojima's Onechanbara. I'm your host CPCGamer, and I'm suddenly sincerely wondering if I change the blood colour back to red instead of white. It'll be an interesting sight to see, because our final boss is surrounded by a haze of blood at all times, so it could look really, really horrible if I didn't fix that. But I've committed myself to the recording now, so we're done, we're here, there is no turning back. Oh, hang on a second, I think Himiko's trying to say something. What is it, girl? Is Misery trapped down the well? Yeah, that's one way of subtitling what Anna just said. Well done taking the diplomatic route, translators. We've got to protect the children. During one of the final cutscenes of what has already been a violent and nudity-fueled gore explosion. Consistency is key in projects like this, I feel. Alright, now that is a logically redundant sentence right there. A regular mortal is not immortal. What else are they gonna be? Oh man, it's moral choice time! Do we pick Paragon or Renegade? Or neither, because we're the Bikini Samurai Squad and we don't have time for such silly quandaries. We're here to get revenge. Oh damn, Aya! Put the claws away! It's a stupid bribe anyway. Himiko is immortal because she has the baneful blood, but she got that blood from Aya and Saki, which should mean that they are immortal, and you can't bribe them with immortality. And you know, I'm legitimately surprised that they have never discussed the baneful bloodline in this series, beyond Aya and Saki. It seems like a popular Japanese trope to have the hero's parents as this just unstoppable force whom the hero can only dream of equaling. Again, going back to Lollipop Chainsaw, you've got Gideon Starling as the coolest man in the world. Or, what's it, June from Tekken. It seems like it would make sense to have Aya's mother mentioned, if only in passing. Why am I coming up with better plots in this game than the writers did? And why aren't I getting in touch with D3 like I always said I would? Just to see if they want to take me on as an idea flinger around-er. I would only accept the post if that were my official title. That'd look pretty awesome on a CV. Heck, I can't see why they wouldn't want to publish my games. I mean, hell, Comic Jumper got made and that game was a train wreck. And you might think that's an oblique one to go for, but I got to thinking about it after the Comic Zone tangent in the last video. I didn't want to talk about it because it's abysmal. Yeah, Aya makes a very good point. Maybe we shouldn't have opened the super climax to the bombastic spectacle fighter with 3 minutes of talking. Do you have any idea how hard it is to monologue like this when nothing is happening? Makes you wonder how I recorded 8 hours of LSD. Okay, we are fighting Himiko. And how much damage can she do? I mean, look at her, she's a shrimp. It's like fighting Yoda or something. Oh! It doesn't help when the game doesn't agree with actions, I must say. Okay, so the main thing you're going to want to watch out for is the fodder enemies around Himiko. She herself only really has the blade attack, and she telegraphs that pretty well. Also, this chair kind of... Oh yeah, she also has that giant hand thing. Saki, you're up. Have fun dodging that, maybe you'll be better. It's kind of a shame there's not a great deal to this fight. It's largely the same hit and run tactics that you saw with the twins or whoever. It's just that for this one the game really punishes you if you don't manage to dodge. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do, but that didn't really work out how I wanted it to at all. Wonderful. Oh, jeez, I am taking an absolute kicking. Just gonna use one of those. And you come in here all cocksure of yourself, and now look at you. I am not gonna use another one of those. He says.
Although I have not seen that Blood Bowl thing before. That's usually one of Reiko's tricks. Which makes sense, I guess. I mean, if the head of the organization can do something cool, she'd want to pass it on to her soldiers. Alright, Aya, you're up. Thank goodness for intermittent health, or whatever that blue thing is meant to be. And I have to say, I am a little bit disappointed that Himeko doesn't move around more. It's easy enough to lure the zombies away, and the chair gets in the way. But of course, if she were moving around, can you imagine? Oh man, if she had a sword of her own instead of that little cane? That'd be the absolute worst! I spoke too soon, didn't I? Dang it, will you stop moving around? These sound effects cost money and we're almost out. It's the end of the game. Whoa, she's presenting. That's more than a little bit awkward. Yep, that's what I'd do. And then I would scream and scream and scream. I kind of feel like she was going for a Lamia laugh. She just couldn't get it quite right. Oh Christ, now she's moving around and she has a sword instead of a little cane. This is just the worst! She can also do that. It's a penalty-free attack that launches you way away from her. It stops you building up long and powerful combos. Unless you can ricochet between her minions. And I can't. I can bravely run away, though. Right into a shotgun blast of some kind. Okay, now it's the last stand. I am out of healing items, so now it's either me or her. I know I talked about the do or die card and called it the board game earlier, but now we are in that situation. And I am so glad you can't be hurt when you're doing the ecstasy attack. But I'm worried because I'm pretty sure Himiko's attacks take priority over everything because why wouldn't they? She's the final boss, she can do what she wants. I can't. Can't tag in Saki though. Maybe we'll have more luck this time around. Oh! Check out them cross-ups, son! Oh, I was afraid she'd do this. Okay, so these big red guys are blood mist zombies. They're the only enemy I didn't show off in the game because they can only be killed by doing the cool combo. And if you don't have your timing down to pat by this point, you're kinda screwed because the only other way to get past this phase is to lose a quarter of your total health. That was a good effort, Chainsaw Guy. You get a smiley face. Oh yeah, the blood mist enemies are also way more aggressive than the in-game ones at this point, so I mean, that's what that Reppuken thing is. It's not too late to call the do-over, is it? Maybe pretend I'm a triple OG by ignoring this? Oh, I completely forgot about that. Okay, so this is either going to go one of two ways. And it's looking like it's maybe going to go just how I want it. I should play my own amazing theme tune at this point. Except I won't, because the backing music is pretty good. It's a remix of the final boss theme and Saki's theme from the previous game. And yeah, you show him, Saki. I'm going to stand for it. And I am really impressed that they remixed the previous game's boss theme. I love it when games do that! Well, that's the end of the game. Except, of course, for the end. I mean, of course, there's one last boss. Of course there is. Oh man, you guys, I wonder who that could be. Yeah, of course it's Misery. It's like the one character you've met that you haven't killed in this game.
I think it's a shame they didn't really develop Misery more as a character. I mean, she has a couple of insightful conversations in cutscenes or whatever, but overall, she's just a recurring boss character. And not the cool kind, like Ultros. She's just kinda there. It's too much power. I can't control it! It's like some kind of Phoenix Force or something, I don't know. Oh, speaking of giving Misery some more backstory or something, they make her about the only person who really knows what's going on with the Baneful Blood, as explained in this exceptionally long cutscene. Although, now that we're on that topic, how can Misery have too much Baneful Blood? I mean, Aya has nothing but Baneful Blood, and she's just fine. And a little cocky, sure, but she's not a murderer of the living. Unless she disagrees with you. Or you're in her way. Oh, wait. In all seriousness, though, I think Aya's a good character. Like, she spent the first 2 games protecting her sister, and in this game she's been trying to save the world in between protecting her sister, so... You know, she's a good character at heart, she's just characterized in a completely psychotic way a lot of the time. Now, okay, no, at this point, you guys are just rehashing stuff that you have just said. You're going back and forth in a, no, you, kind of a way. These are not zingers, you are not cool, just draw your swords and fight already. Enough blood to drown the world, eh? I saw that anime. It was pretty funny. Okay, pay attention to that. You see that top line? Is that wonderful anger aimed at me? That line is enough for TV tropes to jump all over Misery and say that she's gay and Saki is in her sights. You know, because shipping. It's a good motivation, but it's not the best. I maintain that the best villain motivation is no motivation at all. Like, that's the sign of a true monster. No drive to do evil things beyond because it's funny. Alright, get ready for your badass one-liner. You've had 19 missions to prepare for this. Let's make it a good one. BAM! That's close enough to a zinger, I suppose. You get a C+. Onechanbara, final boss fight, take 2. Oh crap, I just realized I came into this without any healing items. I'm kinda screwed if this one doesn't go well. Suddenly a real challenge appears. Although generally speaking, Berserk Misery isn't as hard as a previous fight. I mean, I was gonna say that the opening dialogue probably takes longer than this fight does, but now I'm not so sure. We'll put up a scorecard at the end just to see how we did. To see how long it takes. As before, though, she doesn't have any new attacks. She is just crazy strong. And her blade beam goes in 5 directions, not 3. Or whatever the rule is. They upgrade it is the point. Is the point that I'm trying to go for in between panicking like a loon. She's also backed up by your friend and mine, awkward targeting systems. Oh yes! Oh! I thought I dodged that. Dodge that though! For what good it did me. Jeez, what was that, 2 bars? I very often feel like the Himiko fight, and especially this fight right here, it's the closest thing that this game has to playing against yourself. Or another human player, at any rate. I mean, it's one of the confusing things with fighting games. You can train and train and train against the AI, but you will learn nothing having done that. And I need to tag out again. We might be looking at my first defeat in this game. How about that? I mean, this is not entirely the end, because I do still have a revival item, but I don't like using that. I do my usual RPG thing of going, but I might need it later, even though I desperately need it now. Oh, and I see you, healing gem. New priority, get some dat. Okay. A little bit calmer now. And it's funny how I do have a pack rat mentality when this is the actual final boss fight. Like, there is no later wherein I will need my items. And seriously, that was just 2 bars. The Swallow Dance is meant to have more of a kick than that. Otherwise, what is the point? Alright, now here is how you do Blade Beam's misery. You want to talk how we're not so different, you and I? You've got nothing on that. And I'm doing a bit better than I thought I would, thanks to the health recovery system. I may not need to heal after all. Alright, time! Call it! How did I do? So, I wish I knew how well I'd done so I can congratulate myself on a speedy win, or correct myself for being... What's that word that's the opposite of right? That thing that I never, ever am. Oh, come on now, Miz. You do not get to do a death monologue. You're over, you are done, I win, the end. Although it is a bit of a downer ending, because it says how Aya will eventually go berserk and try to kill Saki. Or vice versa. Either way, there's no real congratulations here. You screwed up. Except, not really though, because there are 2 more games after this one, and they just kind of skip over the idea of the creeping insanity, the baneful blood. I mean, hell, Onechanbara Z Kagura doesn't even have these guys as playable characters. Unless you're in Japan, where they got the Aya and Saki DLC. I think Reiko is part of the pack as well. I honestly don't know that one. Part of the game's advertising was, suck it in America, the majority of this game is Japan only. Just like Dream Club, which was the last known sighting of Ryo Futaba. Now that the outbreak is over, what exactly will Anna do with her skills? She's a specialist zombie slayer, there are no more zombies. The ZPF is useless right now. Oh, also she lost her brother, which was her entire reason for joining and acting in the way she did. It's, you know, it's one of those reasons that I'm not overly keen on Aya's characterization sometimes. I'd like to think that she's a chaotic good character, but this is just a straight up evil attitude of, screw you, got mine. Hey boss, should we render a new environment for the final cutscene, or just put that money towards, like, beer or something? It's a Hurricane Rana! Back out! Back out! Oh! Always with the crunching noises and head trauma. It's not nice, game. Decided nothing. That was a proper slobber knocker. That word sounds way worse than what it actually means. Now, you see, this is what I mean about Aya's characterization. She has just spent 3 games trying to protect her sister. Why would she now stomp her into the ground and tell her to give up? And why is she walking that way? All there is like a locked door and a sewer system. Yeah! That's your game, everybody. Enjoy the go-go dancing cowgirl on the logo, apparently. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about this. Enjoy the really embarrassing techno over the end. It must be a Japanese thing. They have all this heavy rock and acid music during the stages themselves, but you get to the ending credits and it's just bubblegum J-pop. You know, for the most part, I didn't really like the soundtrack in this one as much as I did the previous two games. I mean, in those they combined the rock and techno elements, and Sister Saki is one of my favourite tracks, which you probably notice is why I keep dropping it into my videos. Still, with that said, I mean, it wasn't bad by any means. Like I say, it reminds me of the Streets of Rage soundtracks, and anything that reminds me of Yuzo Koshiro's work is just fantastic. Now, do we need 6 different programmers? Oh, hang on, what's that? No, 12 different programmers. Well, no wonder this game isn't very well optimized. It's hard enough to get one person to code it right. Forget 12. Also, I like this background. Black, white, blue is a good color scheme to me, and I like the profile artwork for the sub-boss characters. Aren't these the same credits that we just saw, but with different titles? Maybe they need to pad the credits out to fit the song. Alright, what do you got? Wada and Matsumaya. No. Neither of those guys worked on Streets of Rage, so they did a really good job of recreating the feel, I think. Oh hey! Aya, Saki, and Reiko were voiced by the same people as in the previous two games, and they didn't recycle anyone's voices from the previous two games aside from that, which is really good, given how the standard model for AAA games is, you know, cycle as many VAs as possible, and then just have Yuri Lowenthal do all the other voices. I'm sure he's a lovely guy and all, and, like, Broske was a really fun character, but kinda sick of him now, you know? What am I even seeing here? Is her model see-through? Oh no, Saki, look out behind you! I kind of feel like I need an MST3K overlay at this point, because I'm not really doing anything anymore. I'm just put the controller down and I'm sat here shouting at the credits. And how many producers does this game have? And surely these guys are all producers in a way, right? Like, content producers? Our CFO, Olga the Whale. President Aya and CEO Saki head out of a board meeting for the next game. And that zombie on the right is the happiest zombie I've ever seen. Look at him! And this is the last credit, so I'm going to wrap up. Join us next time for bonus content! And until next time, goodbye. Oh, and thank you, game. The pleasure was all mine.